Welcome to Business Success Tips, where you learn to make more money in less time. Hope you have a lot more fun. I'm your host, Paul Sanneman. My guest, you're not a ghost, you're a guest.
I'm not a ghost.
It's Dan Dowdy from 𝗀𝗶𝗿𝗄𝗧 Trades. So tell me, Dan, what is it you do?
Yeah, so my company's called Built for the Trades, and what we do is we help trades business owners build businesses that operate without them. And we do that through coaching and training, but really it comes down to just leadership growth in the owners, but also leadership growth with their team. And I think a lot of people out there who run businesses in the trades just really don't take a time to really take a step back and really identify what does the future growth look like in the business and what are the key positions that I need in the business. And so what y'all offer and what we offer can definitely go hand in hand, Paul.
Right. No question. Sure. How do you help make the craftsman, who's a carpenter, whatever, make that transition to an entrepreneur? Because it's a whole different skill set.
Well, the answer to that is you can't make them do anything.
I understand that after doing this. You can't make him do anything. That's true.
You can't make them do anything. It really comes down to, ultimately it's like your vision needs to really match your why. And what I mean is, like, I can have a vision of wanting to be a $10 million business, but if I hit my comfort zone and I really don't want to push past it because my why is not big enough to motivate me to push past that comfort zone, I'm always going to get the same results that I've always gotten. And I think for business owners listening to this, it's, it can be confusing, but really what it comes down to is everybody has a capacity to lead and grow their business to a certain level. And sometimes that level is $500,000 in a year, and sometimes it's $5 million in a year. And I've even had them come to me at $10 million in a year. And before they actually need coaching and need somebody to hold them accountable and really work on their business. And I think just knowing what that capacity is for you is really important. And as a business owner, you'll know if you keep getting the same results year after year, that it's time to do something different.
So I'm sure you've had guys that have had a, $5 million plumbing company for 10 years or whatever, right? And they come to you and say, okay, I want to get to 10 million. What am I doing wrong? How do you respond to that?
Well, I mean, the first thing we got to do is identify, like, what does their structure, their $5 million business look like? And typically what's going wrong is there's somewhere in the leadership that's not allowing this business to grow. It could be in the owner or multiple owners. And what I mean by that is to go from 5 to 10 million, you need more traction. And a lot of times as business owners, we're pretty sporadic. We're visionaries. We're kind of all over the place. And so to have a good visionary, integrator combination and growing the business, meaning that as a visionary, I'm pushing the business forward and where I want to go, but I have somebody who can actually help me integrate or implement the vision that I have at the right time and see it throughout the entire organization. That's where a lot of us get lost, is we have a lot of great ideas, but they never actually, get fully implemented into the business. And so that's probably, where I would navigate first, is seeing what their systems look like there. But so that's where I would start.
I mean, and a lot of people don't even know what an integrator is, right?
Yeah. You're right. A lot of them don't. And
so I know I've got the most amazing integrator in the world. Like, my business wouldn't be out with her. She runs the whole thing, and I just come up with billion ideas. And she says the worst thing is I come in and say, I got a new idea. And she goes, oh my God, not again, right? But that's so. How would you define an integrator, and what's it look like? You've been in business a long time. What's that look like to you?
Been doing it a long time. I mean, the integrator is usually the Debbie Downer and the very grounded one. We'll put it that way. If you're talking to a visionary, the funny thing is, Paul, most trades businesses are ran by husband-wife teams. And, the husband starts it or the wife starts it because they have a dream. They're tired of being told to do. They're master craftsmen or whatever they do. And a year or two in the business, they, get their wife or their husband to quit their job, and they drag them in the business. And next thing you know, you have a perfect example of a visionary integrator relationship, and it's usually where the person that started it is taking risk and living in the clouds and pushing the business forward, while the other one's trying to bring it back down to earth and make sure that we're not spending all the dollars that are coming in and that we're making calculated decisions. And that's where a lot of those businesses become very successful, and they didn't even realize that was the relationship. They were just married and kind of went into business together.
And the statistical probability of you being married an integrator, I don't think it's really high. No offense, but it's not like
it's not really high, you said?
Yeah, you got to find that person, right?
Yeah. So yeah, to find an integrator. So I mean, really, integrators are very, very process focused. I was kind of joking with their Debbie Downers. That's only if you're the visionary of the company and you want everything.
Right.
But yeah, they're very process focused, and I would say they're they're driven to be consistent in the business,
right?
And so the more monotonous things day in, day out that a lot of business owners don't want to deal with, they're usually pretty good at.
Right. And so you've worked with a lot of businesses. What do you think is the key to an expanding a business successfully? Because I'm sure I always say you can stay in business as long as you can afford to pay for your mistakes. So
that's pretty good.
What do you do you see in growing a business that allows people to succeed? Because you work with a lot of businesses.
Yeah, I mean, it really comes down to discipline. We all are motivated. I mean, and motivation is fleeting. It's very emotionally driven. And the difference between the successful and not so successful is usually, what are you driven by? Are you driven by discipline and strategy, or are you driven by motivation and emotions? Motivation is doing things because you feel like it. Discipline is doing the things you need to do when you don't feel like it.
Right.
And so these, at a certain point, from like startup to about $1 million, you can run your business on emotions all day long.
Right.
But once you reach that $1 million mark and you want to push beyond and start building a team, you need to have a plan. And the plan starts with the vision and where you're going. It starts with the goals that you have set. It starts with the structure of the business and what it looks like, and the marketing of the business and the recruiting in the business. And an emotionally driven business owner is, oh crap, we need sales, let's focus on sales. And then, oh crap, we need to recruit, so let's focus on recruiting. One that's more strategic and disciplined has a system for each, and it's always running. And they know the importance of that.
Well, that's the frustration I find is that most contractors don't even have a recruiting budget. It's like, dude, right? And when you think about it, the most important thing you've got is your team, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I look at a lot of contractors, and I look at people that are successful. Elon Musk, you may love him or hate him, but he's great at building teams. That's his secret. He's a team builder from the universe, right? So how do you get somebody who doesn't get that point to understand that their job is to build an awesome team?
How do I get somebody to understand that? The first thing, Paul, is that, like whenever we engage with a client, like the first thing is they need to be coachable. They need to realize that there's something that they don't know that can be taught to them, and they need to finally reach a point in their business where they're willing to invest in that. Anything free is not appreciated, and that stands true to this day, and it has forever. And so I think that when people are investing in their leadership growth, investing in their business growth, what it does is I won't say it forces, but it kind of forces them to step back and start to realize the importance of working on their business. Because I can tell you until you're blue in the face, hey, Paul, you need to be working on your business, not always in it. And even if you understood what that meant, if there was no accountability there, you're never going to do it. And so I think the biggest transition is being coachable, realizing you have a lot to learn, and being willing to invest some money and time into it can make a big difference for anybody. I mean, as a coach, I have a coach, and it's very common, because I know in my plumbing business, when I owned it for 20 years, it wasn't until I hired my first coach that I started to realize there's a lot of things I didn't know about growing and scaling a business.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And so, give me your model about how you coach a business. How do you work with plumbing companies and stuff to get them to grow?
Yeah. So the first thing we do is like these signs you see behind me. We're big proponents in having a vision, a mission, and core values. And a lot of people don't really realize the importance of that. But really, what we're doing is we're giving your business an identity separate than you. You know, because most business owners, the identity of the company is themselves. So I'm going to pull that information out of the owner. What's your vision? What's your mission? What's your core values? Put it on the wall and teach them how to communicate that to their team, and to where their managers get bought into it and they're communicating it, and every level below that is bought into it and communicating it. That's really huge. We help them with what's their 3-year goals, where they want to go. We help them build an organization chart that reflects that. We help them break that down to yearly and quarterly, and then we dive into their financials. That's one piece that most owners say they have their financials, but I would say 70+% don't know how to read them, or, you know, and actually make decisions based on them. And everything that we're doing, what we're wanting to do is equip that owner as the leader of their organization with the knowledge they need to make the best decisions whenever we're not there. And so we'll jump into, you know, financials, and we'll jump into tracking KPIs in the business. But really, a lot of these trades businesses, beyond what I just talked about, they're very reactionary and they're not very proactive. Mm-hmm. And so if you have a leadership team, we start working on, what does your weekly leadership meetings look like? How are they structured? You know, how are you communicating the information to your team? Or so we start to really form meetings that repeat weekly or bi-weekly, that they're starting to communicate the important things to their team members to help them move their business forward.
Okay. And what is, give me an example of your best client and your worst client. You don't get name names, obviously, but I just want people to get some idea of, who's coachable and who's not, right?
Yeah, that's great. So my best client, I've had a lot of really good clients. My best client, I would say, comes to me very unsure about the future, unsure about the coaching, but is willing to kind of blindly follow along. And there's a lot of times I got to tell my clients, hey, prove me wrong. Trust the process, implement it, and prove me wrong. The ones that actually do it are the best clients, because they can look back, a few months later or a year later and say it was the best thing I ever did. Right. The worst clients are the ones that say they want it, but never actually follow through with getting the work done. Because, some of those clients come in thinking, okay, I hired Bill for the trades, they're going to do all the work for me. And that's completely the opposite, because what we don't want to do is we don't want to create a company dependent on us. We want to create a company who becomes independent of us and can eventually outgrow us and let us go. And it's kind of crazy to say that, but that's leadership, And so when we start engaging with the client and we, they're saying, I'm going to accomplish this between coaching sessions, and they're not doing it week in and week out, that becomes a pretty bad client for us.
Somebody once said, you either have what you want in life or an excuse, right? Those are the two options, right?
That's it.
If you have an excuse, it's probably not working for you. You might delegate the homework. So I agree. And coaching clients, telling people, knowing what to do is easy. Getting people to do it is hard. That's my experience.
That is, yep.
So what advice would you give? You've worked with a lot of trades companies, which intend to be a little more, I'm going to say less coachable in a way, because tradespeople, they don't have an MBA from Stanford. They don't, they don't have an entrepreneurial training. Most trades companies started with tradespeople, and they didn't become a plumber or an electrician or whatever it is to run a business. It just sort of fell in their lap, right? And now you're trying to coach them. And okay, if you want to be an entrepreneur, you want to graduate from a craftsman to an entrepreneur, to be on your business, working in your business on your. What are like 2 or 3 things you'd say? Look, if I met a guy in an airport who's a plumber who was complaining about, hey, I can't find good people, my marketing sucks, everybody's hard to work with. What like 3 nuggets would you give them if you never saw them again?
The first thing is mindset. It sounds very cliche, but it's so true. Like that person that you just described is most trades owners that I talk to. And my response is, why would I want to work for somebody like you if that's your mindset? And really the biggest disconnect is this, Paul. When I grew up in the trades, this is how I was treated. And so why can't I treat the people now like I was treated? It's a leadership disconnect. right? It's a generational leadership disconnect. Like just because you were treated like that doesn't mean you can treat other people like that. It's because you're leading a different generation than you were when you grew up. And
Right.
so I think mindset's huge. I think realizing that just because people in the next generation is different, it doesn't mean they're wrong. That's very key. And then really it's important to understand how to align the vision for your company with the vision for your personal life and what you want there. Because a lot of owners can be driven to make millions of dollars and leave everything else in the wake of that dream for millions of dollars, and wake up one day with more money in their bank account and realize that it's not all it's cracked up to be, especially if their spouse hates them, their kids hate them, they have no relationship with them.
Right.
And so we like to, I don't remember your question, but I'm just kind of going down that. But yeah, we like to help people align those two. So that way, when they do reach those goals, they're seeing success in all areas of their life. And it's definitely more fulfilling for them.
I always tell people you need to work harder on yourself than you need on your business. A lot of people don't get that one, right? They go,
Yeah.
and I think if motivation is the total money doesn't fix it. I've been there, done that. And it's lifestyle, it's being appreciated, love, compassion. Those values are the ones that are successful in business. The other ones become rich and miserable, which is not much fun.
No, it's not. But yeah, I mean, you're right. Mindset, working on yourself, and then just making sure that you have a clear vision for what you want and that it aligns with what you truly want. I think that's where you find the most happiness in life, for sure.
Absolutely. So, Dan, if people want to get in touch with you, they're a tradesperson, they're not exactly happy with their coach or they have a coach, how do they get in touch with you and how do you connect and decide it's a good fit?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, builtforthetrades.com is our website. We're on all the social platforms as well. They can reach out to me directly through our website. How do we decide? I mean, we have a 3-step process. One, intro call. Let's just get to know each other a little bit. Second one, we'll walk you through our business freedom roadmap, which is our system that we coach all of our clients on. We have programs from $100 a month to $3,000+ a month. So there's plenty of options for people out there wanting to get into coaching. And then the third is coming and checking out what we offer. Like we actually offer a, hey, come get coached for free type program. Come to a mastermind group, come to our community, see if it's right for you, because we want people to be a long-term fit for what we do and not just hey, I'm going to try it out for a month and see if it works. So, and really, I think that works really well for a lot of the owners out there. So there's really no risk to them to come check it out.
Yeah. And I always say, if you have a coach and you're not looking forward to the coaching call, it's the wrong coach.
Yeah. Yeah. There's definitely seasons. I mean, there's seasons for coaching. Like sometimes that coach that got you to where you're at, it's not the coach that's going to get you to the next level.
That's right. Right.
For sure.
Well, thanks for being here. That's a lot of wisdom. And I think if you either not looking towards coaching call, if you have a coach, or if you don't have a coach, I haven't met a successful business that doesn't have one. And that's true. That's just, very true. You just need help. Like, give me a sports team that doesn't have a coach. It doesn't exist, right? And you sort of have a team, like any other team. So thanks, Dan. I appreciate being here. And if you now look at go with your coach, or you want to have a coach, give Dan a call. If you're in the trades, he's the guy.
Thanks, Paul.